That's a good picture. Wayne Pelkey. And that jacket and pants came from next door. There used to be Harvard clothes.
All right, good morning. We want to say good morning to each and every one of you. And if you are a veteran watching this morning, we want to say happy Veterans Day. 29 degrees and sunny in the Granite City. We have a lot of activity here in the studio today on this Veterans Day 2021. A whole lot of activity and a whole bunch of people that are in the studio that we are so excited to have. And we're going to introduce some remarkable veterans in just a little bit. We're also going to tell you, we'll kind of preface things with a little disclaimer this morning that because we pride ourselves with always being live and always being local and never being edited, there are going to be some interruptions, and there's going to be some fly-by-night decisions here that are going to be made, and some microphone switches and so on and so forth. Pardon us in advance. I'm sure that Raylene is, as she always does, will be interrupting me and maybe moving a couple of microphones around as we go. But I promise you, nobody's going to get hurt. It is the absolute biggest pleasure that we can announce this morning here live on Aired Out that we have several veterans that are in the studio with us this morning, and more walking in as we speak. We have what do we have here? We have Vietnam. Yeah, we have some folks from SOAR, Support, Outreach, Assistance, Recovery, warriorssoar.org that are going to be here speaking this morning. We have a parade that's coming up around 10:30, 11:15 in Barre City, and a ceremony in the park at 11:11 this morning. But I want to proudly introduce these two gentlemen who are sitting right next to me right here, right now, live on the podcast, on Aired Out. Wayne Pelkey and Clyde Cassidy. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
I want to make sure that we can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
But it is an absolute pleasure to have both of you gentlemen in here, sitting right next to each other and able to have a conversation here on Veterans Day. And before I begin, happy Veterans Day to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
All of you, everywhere, no matter where you are.
The other gentleman just came in. That's Morris Fortier.
Tell me about Morris Fortier.
Morris and I were picked up at 69 years ago today at 9 o'clock at the city park on Armistice Day. We were drafted. And we got on a Vermont transit bus and went down through Route 14 all the way to White River, picking up guys all the way down. And Morris and I went through basic training together, went overseas together, fought in the Korean War together, and here we are, still here today.
Isn't that absolutely, that's
remarkable.
69 years ago, almost to the day.
Almost to the day and the time. It was 9 o'clock, so 1 more minute, we would have been picked up at the park.
And you were just telling me off camera that when your bus passed down North Main Street and you saw the statue.
Yes. We thought it was the last time we'd ever see it, right, Mo?
We're talking about the Youth Triumphant.
Youth Triumph, yeah.
Remarkable.
Isn't it remarkable? And
Remarkable.
And to think that I have a veteran from the Korean War and World War II next to me right here, Clyde Cassidy, What town are you from, Clyde?
Barton,
You're from Barton,
right now, Callis.
in Calais right now.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, and I'm going to tell you straight up right now that I've been in broadcasting now for about 33 years. This 33 years in my career, this is the highlight right here. To have, and I've always dreamed of having a World War II vet that I could sit down with and chat with. And to have both of you sitting here in front of me at the same time I've got constant goosebumps on my arms. Both of you are remarkable individuals. You have gone and fought in these wars, come home and lived out the rest of your lives. Wayne, you just turned 90 years old?
3 days ago, yeah.
Wow. And Clyde, how old are you?
96.
96 years old. So let's start with Clyde. How old were you when you went to World War II? Were you drafted?
Yes. 18.
18 years old.
Everything happened in 1943. Basic overseas, joined the infantry company,
Yeah.
all in 1 year.
And all of a sudden, you're gone.
Yeah, bad operation.
And what did you do in the military? You were infantry, right? Were you infantry?
Yes, I was a rifleman replacement.
Was
The company had just come off from San Pietro, which was a real bad one.
Yeah.
One that we won, but heavy casualties. And I was a replacement rifleman.
Where did you? What happened? What's your story? Was there time for basic training? Was there time for basic training?
Oh, yes. I trained in Georgia, Camp Wheeler, Georgia, 17 weeks. Got about a 4-day delay en route. Got 2 days at home, then embarkation, 21 days in convoy into Arzu, North Africa.
Then what?
And I stayed probably a couple weeks in North Africa in a replacement depot, and then transferred to Italy. 2 days after I arrived in Italy, I was up at San Pietro, had a rifle and grenades and everything that an infantryman needs.
Was that the start of everything for you? Was that the start of the war for you?
Yes, yeah. I had a night patrol a few days before capture.
What do you mean capture? Tell me about that.
Yeah, we January 22nd, 44. We moved across the Rapido River, which was the second day of the operation, and we didn't do too good. The Germans had set up defensive positions right back of a dirt road. I'm sure they knew that the banks along that road would give us cover, and we'd stop, and we did. And they hit us with, interlocking machine gun fire, and then mortar and artillery fire. So my company's casualties were over 100.
Right off.
Yeah.
What happened then?
We lost our company commander and our executive officer right off. The platoons, one of the sergeants took charge. He was killed shortly after that. So the company was being commanded by a platoon sergeant. They ordered us to dig in, said we were going to hold. We had nothing to hold. We're in heavy fog. When that fog cleared, snipers were having a field day. And they moved right in. We knew that by supper time, none of us would be left. but the Germans moved in, and the group I was with was captured. I don't know about the rest of the company. The only good thing that happened was several of us were picked, and we were allowed to stay in German forward positions to take care of our wounded. We had wounded from 2 companies, but we had to move the wounded into German lines. I didn't take names, I didn't count, but there was an awful lot of wounded.
Essentially, the Germans captured you. You were a prisoner of war.
15 months.
15 months.
Did you go to Stalag 4?
Stalag 4. I was in a transit camp in northern Italy, and they moved us by boxcar to Germany. Stayed a week in Stalag 4B Mühlberg, and then they transferred us to Stalag 2B in Hammerstein, which was in the province of Pomerania. And then I was picked for a work company, and I spent 11 months up in the area of the Baltic Sea on a primitive farm where we worked side by side with the German peasants and some foreign laborers.
What was that like? I mean, was this hard labor?
This farm had no machinery whatsoever. Everything on that farm, fertilizing, planting, harvesting was done by hand. And we did the same thing as those peasants did for 11 months.
11 of the 15 months that you were a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
How did you? I want to hear the story of how you were rescued and brought back to American soil. But I want to shift gears, and we're going to get there. But I want to ask Mr. Pelkey, Wayne Pelkey, who's right next to us. What's your story? So we left Barre almost 69 years ago to the day today.
To the day, yeah.
And you were with a friend of yours, Morris, who's here now. What did you do?
Well, we went down to Fort Devens, and then they sent us to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for 4 months of advanced infantry basic. But you know what's amazing listening to him? His story of his company and so forth is almost identical to mine. I was a platoon sergeant, and I had to take over because I was only there 2 months, and I had the most experience of anyone that was left, other than Mo, and he got transferred to another group.
So what happened after South Carolina?
After South Carolina, we identical to him. I never got to leave. I had in transit time to get 2 days at home, and flew from New York to Chicago to get 3 days leave, and then we went to Seattle, Washington, and then we went overseas 17 days to Japan, and then to Korea.
All right. So what happened in Japan?
Japan was just where they assembled the groups, and fortunately what they did was put us in different companies. And it's a good thing they did, because of the 17 of us from Barre, we all came back.
You all came back?
We all came back.
All 17 of you?
All 17.
And how many in that company are still with us today? Obviously, Morris?
Morris and I are the only 2 out of the whole group that are still left.
The only 2 out of the 17 returning home?
Yeah.
You and Morris right here?
Yes.
Remarkable. What happened after Japan? You were shipped off to Korea?
Yes, we went off to Korea, and I was going to ask you probably had the old M1 rifle?
I got one.
The M1?
Yeah.
I have.
I called that the parade one because I had a Browning automatic, and they didn't allow that in World War II because they were afraid the Germans were going to copy it. But that was a great weapon because that would fire 20 rounds, while the M1 would only fire one at a time.
Wow. What happened in Korea?
Well, Korea was unfortunately like World War I. It was trench warfare.
Yeah.
And when things were moving, it was a lot better. But the last 2 years of the war was, we were 400 yards away from the Chinese, and the first place I went was with North Koreans, and they were the most miserable pieces of humanity that existed in this world. They would catch someone, and like we had one Chinese American, they caught him and they just desecrated his whole body and put it out where we could see it.
And you had, and I've got a photograph here in 1953 of one of the bunkers that you were in.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Well, we were lucky in a way because the Turkish group had been there ahead of us, and they made some good sandbag bunkers and had plenty of rocks on the roof, big stones, and in fact we had a direct hit once and it didn't penetrate. But the area was all full of skulls, and we didn't know if it was friend or foe. That's why the skulls that are on our bunker, we left them there just to be polite, because they could have been Korean, they could have been Chinese, they could have been American. We called them Mr. Bones, and we saluted them every day when we came out.
And I see your notes here. It says Chinese 500 yards.
Yes, 500 yards away, and I was always in Vermont a good hunter, and I was the volunteer sniper from our outfit. And I think of that many times because I used to cut a notch in the 303 English Enfield with a 7-power scope. And I have a lot of remorse thinking of cutting notches on it because they were human beings too.
Yeah.
The Chinese, the North Koreans, I think they were the lowest scum on earth.
Yeah.
They still are.
Yeah. And that's something that you'll obviously carry for the rest of your life. And I think many veterans can relate. Mr. Cassidy, I'm sure you feel the same way about the Germans.
Yeah, to a point, although I'll try not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been back to Germany.
You have.
Not to stay very long, but
Drink a couple of beers, get some bratwurst, right?
yeah.
I bet you ate a lot of potatoes when you were at Stalag 4, huh?
We did on the farm.
Yeah. Potatoes and cabbage.
Yeah.
So you lost how many members, how many brothers in your group?
I think the final casualty list for our company was something like 140. Some of them got cut off and were captured. Of course, we lost all our officers right off, and at the end, our platoon sergeant was in charge of the company, and there were just probably 12, 15 of us left in that sector.
Identical.
Same story with you.
Same story, yeah.
Yeah. First good German that I saw was a big fellow with a submachine gun on his left arm, and we were supposed to be digging in. My entrenching tool got lost somewhere along the way. I was pushing dirt up in front of me with a musket, and the fog whipped and just kind of drifted out, and I saw him standing there started to reach for my rifle and then realized this guy had a bead on me with that submachine gun. There wasn't much choice.
What'd you do?
I had to back off. My sergeant yelled at me, "Don't try it. He's got you dead to rights." So I looked up, and my sergeant was there was Germans around him. He'd already been captured, so I had to back off.
You know, I have to tell you both. When I was 18, my biggest worry, my biggest concern in my life at the time was, would I have gas in my car, and when I was going to be meeting up with my girlfriend. When you're 18, you're a kid. You guys were thrust into the deepest, darkest, ugliest part of life of this world that could ever be presented upon itself. I mean, I can't imagine being 18 years old, and you must have been scared. I mean, I understand we're all hopped up on adrenaline, especially at that age, but you must have been just scared straight.
I was captured 9 days before my 19th birthday.
For 15 months?
I spent 9 days of my 18th birthday, all of my 19th birthday, and 2 or 3 months of my 20th as a prisoner.
Did you think you'd make it out?
There were times, the last of our being there on the farm, we learned that the Russians were making a drive for the seaport at Danzig. We didn't know it, but the seaport at Danzig was about a day's travel from the farm. The Germans moved us off on the 18th of February, 45, and we walked for 70 consecutive days.
You walked for 70 consecutive days.
Yeah, we did it on soup once a day. We slept on the ground about half of those nights. I don't know why I remember the date, but on April 13th, the column was strafed by 4 British Spitfires. 10 of the guys were killed, and I don't know how many were wounded.
What happened after that?
They kept us, we walked for another 2 weeks after the strafing, to total 70, and we finally ended up in a little settlement a little ways out of the city of Lubeck, and we sat tight for 1 day. The guards left us, and about the 3rd day that we were there, we could see 2 guys in the distance up telephone poles, because we didn't want to wander around too much. We didn't know whose territory we were in,
right,
whether we were friendly or in German.
Sure.
These guys were linesmen. We were in friendly territory. That was May 3rd. We called that liberation.
So
Nobody had to tell us.
What happened? What happened?
After liberation,
yeah.
What did
these linemen do?
Pardon?
What did these linemen do?
Well, these linemen were fixing telephone lines for their outfit. They were not part of us. That was a regular army, but we made contact with them. They made a couple of phone calls, and we're free.
How did you know that you were going to be freed?
Good.
How did you know? What happened?
Okay. First off, we didn't know exactly whether we were in German territory after the guards left us, or whether we were in American controlled. So we sat tight for a day, And then we saw these fellows working the poles, working telephone lines. And in talking with them, we found out we were in American territory, and they were just doing their job.
What was that territory?
We were about 20 some odd kilometers east of the city of Lubeck.
Okay. So what happens next? How did you get rescued?
Well, we got orders through these two fellows. They put in a phone call to their headquarters, and we got orders to move over to the next village. It was only probably a half an hour. We got over to the next village, and there were 5 Sherman tanks sitting there waiting for orders. And this is the 3rd of May. The war ended 4 days later. So we stayed there until they could make sure that the area was secure and got trucks in. The trucks came in, I think, the 3rd or 4th day we were there. They drove us down to an airport at Hildesheim, down by Hanover, and flew us into Le Havre, France. And we went to Camp Lucky Strike, and I was in a section of Lucky Strike where they fed us chicken twice a day. We got fresh white cereal for breakfast, fresh chicken for dinner, and canned chicken for supper, because most of us were a little on the thin side, and I put on an awful lot of weight on that chicken.
So then what? When did you come home? How did you get home?
Okay, I have a little story that I like to tell at this point. A lot of us thought we had first priority getting home. That was not the case. The ships were transporting material to the Pacific. They were bringing wounded home and that, so our priority kept dropping. One day while we were in Camp Lucky Strike, a Jeep drove down the road, driven by a lieutenant colonel. The passenger in the front seat was General Eisenhower. The passengers in the back seat was his chief of staff, General Smith, and there was a senator with him. And of course we got the Jeep stopped, and we talked to General Eisenhower for quite a while. The senator, not to be outdone, stood up and yelled. He was from Montana. He stood up and yelled, "Anybody here from Montana?" And of course some of the guys answered. And then he stuck his foot in it. He said, "I'm going to take your names, and if I get home before you do, I will personally call your families." Some guy in the crowd said, "If you don't get home before we do, it's because you walked." And Eisenhower made no comment. And he ate dinner with us that night.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. General was a very nice fellow.
So eventually you were put on a boat and sailed back to where?
We came into Camp Shanks, New York. And then we got time to come home. And then I was rescheduled to Fort Meade, Maryland.
This is absolutely amazing. It's incredible to hear this. I mean, it's just, how did you get home, Wayne?
Actually, we came home on the General Pope, a big 2-stack, 4,500 of us on it, from Tucson to Seattle.
At what point did you know, did you have real hope and faith that you were going to be coming home? At what point, where were you when you said, I know I'm going to live through this?
Well, I knew I was going to make it, because after I was wounded, I woke up and I saw the most beautiful face and blonde hair. I got sent to a Swedish hospital.
Oh.
And
That's it right there.
so it was a real good feeling. I think Mo was on the same ship that I was, and when I got in Seattle, it showed to being
Wow.
22 years old at the time. My thoughts were quite different than where today. I walked down the street, and the first place I stopped was a Chevrolet agency, and looked in and saw 1953 Chevrolet, and I said, I'm going to have one of those when I get home. And I did.
Wow. And Mr. Cassidy, at what point did you really feel you're going to make it? You're going to survive, you're going to get rescued, and you're going to come home?
I think it was in those couple of days after the guards left us, and we made contact with the two linesmen, and then we got orders to move over where we were protected by the Sherman tanks. At that point, we were relatively sure that we'd made it.
Absolutely amazing. And Mr. Pelkey, you have published a book outlining and highlighting your story, which we're going to show here on camera, Christmas in July.
That was one of the last big battles of the Korean War, and a couple of us got together online in 2000, and we said we want to make sure that the Korean War is not going to be a forgotten war.
That's right.
So we wrote that book, and after 47 years of trying to forget, we had 3 years of trying to remember.
Yeah.
So the 19 of us put all our thoughts together, and our thought was to accomplish what is a problem with a lot of veterans. We clam up and won't talk about it. And what we tried to do with that, giving it to the families and so forth, is to get the veterans to start talking to their families and friends and so forth. And there's a lot like opening a window and letting the smoke out of a closed room. And I think it has worked.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy to get some of you fellas to share your story, your experience. But, you know, our good friend Ron Tallman is constantly reminding us that we have to try to capture these stories, this history, before we lose these folks, because you guys are really some of the reasons why we are who we are still today, why we have our freedom, why we have this country, because of veterans, and especially these big wars, man. I mean, that's it right there.
Well, unfortunately, too many people, particularly a lot of the politicians, don't realize that. And it was a good feeling for me today when I come down from Washington Street and saw the big Old Glory hanging over Main Street after all the controversy with the city council. In fact, it's unbelievable to me to have a city councilman say, looking at the flag is offensive. And I just cannot imagine that, thinking of all. And in fact, Clyde, when he got out of the Second War, he probably thought, well, that was the big one, and no more wars. 5 years later, we had the Korean War.
Sure.
And then 5 years after that, we had the Vietnam War. So it just goes on. And I think that's what bothers me today is that the young men of the country don't seem to have the patriotism they used to have. It's a me situation, and self-gratification. Got to stop at the club and have a drink after. Got to do this. Got to play hockey. Got to play baseball. And the biggest thing is that Vermont is really was one of the most religious states of the 50 states. You go to all the small towns, and there's still 2 churches and nobody living there. You look at Barre around the park, we have 5 churches. And today, I just am ashamed to admit it. A lot of people don't realize that Vermont has the notoriety of being the less religious state in the Union. I can't believe the change.
Yeah.
Agree with them.
Yeah. What's that, Mr. Cassidy? Say that again?
No, I agree with them.
Yeah. How does it feel? Have you had a chance to see the huge flag hanging above North Main Street?
Oh, yeah.
How does that feel?
Very good. A lot of the fellows wore flags on their shoulders. Those were removed if they were captured. They weren't allowed. I didn't have one, but some of the guys did, the older guys in the company. And the Germans removed them.
It seems like this week, Veterans Day week, should be declared the American Flag Week for the Granite City, and there should be no discussion or application or voting whether or not our American flag should be displayed. It should be just a given. Yeah. And it's something that should never be political. It's our flag. And if there's anybody that knows that, it's you two. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
We can't say it enough.
Okay.
We cannot say it enough. God bless both of you.
Okay.
Every veteran everywhere. We're going to have some help from some folks that are here, getting you up and away from the microphone so that we can get you to the parade on time. It is going to be a fantastic ceremony in Barre City Park at 11:11. But we want to be able to have the time to get you over to the Barre Auditorium, to get you all lined up. But God bless you both. Any closing thoughts or comments?
I didn't realize there was going to be a parade. In fact,
No, I didn't either.
in fact,
Both of you didn't know that.
no news on it at all. In fact, it's amazing because for years I marched down from the auditorium with a World War II veteran.
Yeah.
And
I just hope I don't have to walk too far.
No, we'll get you in a
Okay.
We'll get you in some wheels. Yeah. Raylene, help us just transition these two fine gentlemen.
Push this microphone out of the way.
Yeah, we'll get the microphone away from you and.
Incidentally, why I knew about his Stalag 4 is that my next door neighbor that I grew up with was captured in Anzio and spent 3 years in Stalag 4.
My goodness.
But unfortunately, German's not the same. My daughter-in-law is born and brought up in Germany. Yeah.
Well, listen, where can we buy this book, Mr. Pelkey?
That's the last one I have of 1,000 copies.
Oh, my goodness.
We talked about having it reproduced, but
I think it should be reproduced. And, I mean, look at this. This is amazing. You can show that on camera. Go right ahead. Yeah. And we want to...
This parade and the ceremony means a lot to us.
Well, we're going to do that right now. We're going to do that right now. Yeah. Can we get
Morris?
Can we get a quick comment from Morris? Maybe not.
Yeah, I was just stepping down.
Okay. Yep.
I'm probably going to get the secret out today because when we left basic training to go overseas, none of us had to leave. And Morris came home and got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Morris, thank you for your service. Thank you. very much. You two fellas are basically brothers.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you've done for our country, and God bless you. We appreciate you so much. Are you going to be marching in the parade?
No.
I don't think we'll be marching. No.
All right.
Vehicles up there for you to ride in.
Yeah, amazing.
Usually
We've
give us a folding chair with a soft cushion to sit on.
They're already set up there for you, Wayne.
They are.
well,
That's there.
Ron is going to help you
Ron
guys.
is the one that's probably the most knowledgeable of.
Ron Tallman's knowledgeable
all
of
the
everything.
around, and in fact, as far as American flag, he's been a more
Amazing to have these guys in here. Just
military funerals. And
phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thanks for your comments, posting them up this morning.
Thank you very
We're going to transition these fine gentlemen out of the building here and get them over to the parade. But
Memory is still good.
is Ron going with them?
Yeah, squeeze on in, fellas, a little bit tighter.
What they're going to do? All right. I know that Ron Tallman is a busy dude who is getting ready to head off to get these guys up to the parade. But I just wanted to thank you, Ron, for coming in here today, buddy, and for setting this up and doing everything that you do. This is the real deal.
It is. It's
the
a real deal. Listening to this story for these gentlemen, absolutely our generation that should not be forgotten.
Yeah.
Should not be forgotten.
That's probably one of the single most passionate things about you that you carry with you every day is making sure these veterans are not forgotten, no matter what war they're from.
Well, JD, when you served in combat too, as well as I have, but also, you know that what their stories are like, and you've lived their stories,
Yeah.
but in a different world, a different jungle.
Yeah.
But the same story comes out as the camaraderie.
How old were you in Vietnam?
I just turned 19.
Incredible.
Yeah, so it was an eye opener. I mean, even just going into the military and taking basic and going on through AIT and then being shipped to Fort Hood and then from Fort Hood over to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And here you are, 19 years old, and my birthday actually, I have to say I was going to be going on to being 20 years old because I would have had my birthday when I was there in August of '67.
Wow.
So it was a whole new world to, come into play for a kid from Vermont.
Sure.
And I have to say the skills that we have from Vermont were probably what's a lifesaver because we knew how to hunt. We knew how to take care of ourselves. We knew how to camouflage ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that we got to use those tools that a lot of people didn't get to have. When you come from the city, you don't blend in as well as you do when you've been in the country all your life.
That's right. That's
So-
right. Amazing to see that flag flying above.
Oh,
North
it's
Lake.
absolutely gorgeous. I can't tell you. We're going to take a chance and hopefully stop by it when we go through there and
Yeah.
get a picture of it, with some of the folks from the parade. And
We're gonna let you help these. Are you helping these gentlemen up to the parade?
well, we're going to make sure they get up there and they're
Okay.
going to have their rides and stuff like that. Yes,
All
JD.
right.
So we'll be going out of here and we'll be leaving the auditorium somewhere around 10:35,
Okay.
quarter of 11, so we can be at the park at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we can have you'll see us go by here as you.
We'll be live on camera.
Okay.
I think.
yeah, well-
Anyways, we're gonna try.
So.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. The story that you listened to today should live in infamy.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron
Okay.
Tallman.
Right.
And thanks to you and Chuck Barney and everyone else at the Barre Area Veterans Council for all that you guys have done.
Well, and we'll keep doing it as long as we can.
God bless you, buddy.
All right. God bless. Thank
Ron
you, JD.
Tallman, we're going to. Is there any?
One more transition.
Yeah.
He'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. One of the we told you this morning that we are very, very much live. So we have a lot of veterans in the studio here at 185 North Main Street. This is one of the good friends of Wayne Pelkey. We'll have you sit in this chair here, bud. That'd be perfect. Yeah, either chair, actually. Morris, my goodness, tell me about you. And I know that we're getting ready to get up to the parade this morning, but you and Mr. Pelkey were you both departed Barre together for the Korean War.
Yeah, we were drafted. We were drafted and met in Montpelier to take the bus, and it stopped in Barre. I don't know, or went through Barre, and Wayne and I were on the bus together, and I think there was like 20 of us there. Yeah. And, Wayne said that there's only 2 of us left.
Yeah, 2 of the, I think he said 17.
17, yeah. My memory's not that good, so.
Yeah. Did you serve together? Did you fight together?
No. We were near each other, but in different outfits. And I was in the 5th Regimental Combat Team, which was attached to several other bigger divisions. We were kind of a stop unit that, if they got hit, we'd come in and try to hold them, and that happened a few times. But the worst part of my serving over there was the end of the war, the armistice.
Yeah.
And that night, it was signed at 10 in the morning, and we were supposed to become effective at 10 at night.
Yeah.
And we were told that we'd have to bring all our guns and ammunition out in the morning. So we were to fire our guns. I was in a unit that had a recoilless rifle, which is a big tube, like a howitzer, and big shells, and so we wanted to get rid of all that. And before we could do it, we could fire them. They pinned us down, and we were just in these bunkers that where our guns were. Of course, we had trench warfare, and that's where we maintained those guns and out of them there. But another story I want to tell is when in the Army, did basic with Wayne, not in the same unit, but in the same Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And of course, we got some leave time on weekends every now and then, and we'd go to town and go to the Legion, which was a place where you could get a beer and
Sure.
And be recognized.
Yeah.
And so we had some good times there. But after basic training, I came home and got married, and that was on April 4th of 1953, and April 25th, I think, is I was in Korea on the front line.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I remember that because that was my mother's birthday. So that's the day that I landed, and our sergeant met us at the bottom of the mountain and took us up the top, and that's where I stayed for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many days did you serve in Korea?
In Korea itself, I was there.
Or months?
No, I was there 14 months, I think.
14 months.
Yeah, and came home on and went to Fort Devens for the rest of my tour.
Family happy to see you come home.
Oh, I was. Yeah, they were. Yeah, came home. I West Coast on May 1st, and got back to Barre on May 6th.
Happy to be home.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Wayne was saying that you both, when you were leaving town in Barre, 69 years ago, almost to the day,
Yes.
today, that when you were leaving Barre on a bus, that you saw the Youth Triumphant statue, and both wondered if that was the last time you were ever going to see it.
It was. Yeah. We did wonder. Yeah.
And you were infantry as well.
Yes, I was. Yeah. 511-56513. That's my number.
Wow.
U.S.
What was your outfit?
5th Regimental Combat Team, which was attached to different divisions, at times, just wherever they needed us.
What do you think of that flag hanging above North Main Street?
Well, I personally called the mayor.
You did?
And gave him. Well, I didn't talk. I didn't call him. He was at a meeting that I was at, and so I told him that how I felt about it. I wanted it up there.
Yeah.
I really feel. I fly a flag every day, seven days a week, 24 hours a day with a light on it, and I do that at my home, and I do it at my camp, and I really appreciate the flag.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I said earlier, and I'll say it again, really nothing that we should be... It just doesn't feel like we should be voting whether or not we display the American flag.
It should be there. It should be there.
Yeah. Nothing that... Do you feel like it's something that we shouldn't even be discussing? It should just fly.
All right.
Yeah.
It's us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are we doing enough for veterans today? Are we doing enough?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You think so?
I do. Yeah.
Do you get down to the VA in White River?
I have hearing aids.
Yeah.
That's where I get them, and
They take good care of you.
yeah, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah. Did my job, and they're doing theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic to have you in here, and Mr. Pelkey and Clyde Cassidy.
Well, he had an amazing series of stories.
Yeah. What's your big one? What's your big takeaway?
Well, you mean of what we did?
Yes.
Well, we certainly rebuilt Korea for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we saved them.
Yeah.
And then we rebuilt them.
Yeah.
And I remember what it looked like. I never went back. I had the opportunity to go back. I just didn't feel I wanted to see it.
Understand.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. You guys were fighting in bunkers so similar to World War II types of
Yeah.
combat.
Yeah, it was like World War One.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course.
Trenches.
Trenches.
Yeah, that's where we lived, in those trenches.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So many veterans are saluting you,
Well,
saluting Korean War veterans, World War One or World War II veterans.
I salute them too. I have a grandson that was in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he's a young guy, but he's has a problem with the smoke
Lungs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to get you off to the parade.
Okay.
I want you to know that you're welcome to come into this building and come on these microphones any darn time you want, for any reason, any day, any time. That's an open door for you, and I hope you come in here, and I hope you take advantage of me on that.
Okay.
For any reason, anytime. Please do.
Thank you.
We won't forget you.
Thank you.
We won't forget any of you. And God bless you, and thank you for your time this morning. And are you going to be in the parade?
I'm going to the ceremony.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I usually do. So.
We're going to chat with a couple of guys over here on the other side of our studio who have been in the wings here. And my goodness, I don't even know where to start with you guys. Brian and Shannon, thank you both so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Brian, if we can get you to scooch that way a little bit more so we can see you, that would be fantastic. I'm sorry, Shannon, this way. If we can get you. And, yeah. Perfect. Boys, thank you for traveling all this way, coming here. Are you hoping to be in the parade? You can be marching in the parade at all?
I'm down from Fairfax.
Okay.
So we need to be in Burlington for a ceremony at noon.
Okay.
So I don't think we can. I won't be able to make the parade. No.
Okay. One of the
Have a great
biggest.
day, sir. Nice meeting you.
Yeah. What did you
Thanks
think
for your
of
service.
What did you think of these veterans in here? Incredible. What do you think?
Amazing.
Serving and being around.
Come up to that mic really close. If we can. Hey, we're live.
He's okay. Being around and serving with heroes like these guys is just being in awe of them. You know, I was so lucky to serve with guys like this. Just waking up in the morning, going to work and doing our thing and just knowing who's next to me.
Yeah.
And knowing guys like these, it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran and I did the Kuwait and Afghanistan thing, and so I understand when they say something, there's way more to it than what they're saying.
Oh yeah.
And it's a much deeper felt and difficult thing that they had to get through and then deal with after.
Then what's being described out of their mouths?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're...
Light years.
Yes. Yeah.
Shannon, tell me about you. And of course, I want to hear about SOAR. We have to talk about SOAR, what you guys do. And I've got the brochure, and I've read a little bit, and I've seen your Facebook stuff, but I'm sure it goes far, far, far beyond that as well.
Yeah, it does. After serving in the military 20 years, and I had an opportunity to fly the helicopters, and but once I got out, it just seemed like there was a void. It was like you just dropped off and go figure it out, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing. It's kind of the same way with coming back from Afghanistan. It was just got off the plane and went home. It was weird.
And you're thrust back into this world, this life where, yeah, there's plenty of organizations that are stretching out their hand and saying, hey, how can we help? But sometimes y'all don't know how to answer that question. You need help, but you may not know, or you may have some pride that's getting in the way, or you may not know exactly what you need, but you need help in some way.
Right. Even what's available, and even to know that there are other veterans that have been through, maybe not as bad as you.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to say it wasn't as bad for this guy as it was that guy. It's different for everyone. But there are lots of us who understand, and when someone says they're hurting and they've gone through some pretty tough situations, it's much easier to talk to someone who has been through that kind of thing.
Sure.
Because a lot of the details and a lot of the explaining you don't have to do.
Right.
Because the other person knows already.
They've already read in between all of the lines.
Or they've been through it themselves. And for the most part, that's us.
Relatability.
Yes.
And it's everything.
Right. And they know that brotherhood they had in the service and in places people have been sent to is here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us who feel that brotherhood and already support you.
Right.
And
that's right.
That is a very big deal when you get back.
Sure it is.
Because you walk out of a brotherhood of trust and camaraderie that is nowhere else.
Exactly.
You literally trust the person next to you with your life.
Yep.
You get out of that, and the trust for people drops to almost zero.
Yeah.
Crowded places, lots of things going on.
And this, honestly, in this crazy world that we're living in, which, let's be honest, it's just getting crazier. Throw the pandemic into the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's lost their minds.
Right. And that is very difficult to negotiate for someone who hasn't served.
Yeah.
Is that much more of a combat veteran or an injured veteran, somebody who's seen things that, just you cannot describe.
That's right.
And so we are looking for the veterans who want to just hang out and talk. We do fishing and sailing and
I was going to say,
And we-
not just sitting and talking, but also having a whole hell of a lot of fun, which you guys deliver.
Yeah, and golfing.
More-
and,
Hello.
what the key is for us is that we have an activity.
Yeah, that's right.
Indoor golf is one of them. We just started yesterday up at Gonzo's, and he's been very generous to us. And while we're doing those things, we're also hanging out with the brotherhood
Yeah,
and talking.
that's right.
We're not a sit on the couch kind of place.
Yes.
We are a place where you can talk if you wish,
That's right.
or we can just fish,
Right.
or sail,
Right.
or just be humans for a while.
The last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, we've all lost track of this pandemic, has added so much feelings of isolation for everybody. In some way, we've all been affected by it. Maybe a little bit, maybe a whole lot. But there's never really been a better time to try to chip away at that and make sure
Right.
that are veterans who otherwise pre-pandemic were generally doing fair or okay. We really need to get dialed in on the beat of how they are during this pandemic more than ever.
Right.
Because now everybody's been affected by some form of isolation or not. You know, Veterans Day is it's a time, it's a day when we have to ask ourselves, are we doing enough for veterans? And when we say we, are we doing enough for veterans? It's not necessarily this federal program or that federal program or the VA, but we, the dude living next to a veteran, a neighbor, a friend, a stranger, or we, all of us, doing enough for veterans today? I mean, you know, what we have to ask ourselves, what's being done in our community to help veterans who are suffering from anxiety or depression or PTSD, of which there are so many different forms of.
Right.
This is a complicated thing, and mental health as a whole, veteran or non-veteran, is a massive, massive thing in our world today. But veterans, man, they're carrying tons of baggage that they've been carrying long before this pandemic. We got to get dialed into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've all lost friends in combat and to veteran suicide. And our number one mission is to assist in the healing and reintegration of our wounded heroes through support, outreach, assistance, and recovery. And how we chose to do that is through inclusion and mentoring and indoor and outdoor activities.
Right.
Again, as Brian said, Brian's on our board, one of our board of directors. We have Steve Valencia here. That's also a board of directors on the board, and our PR does the PR for the organization. But that's the basis of starting this organization, was to prevent veteran suicide, and as I said, through inclusion and mentoring and just getting out and being active and talking and finding the resources that can help with any particular situation or injury, whether it's mental or physical. Right. And as Brian said, we provide indoor golf in the winter. We do a ice fishing weekend in the winter. We'll do some activities up at Von Trapp. And then one of the biggest premier programs that we have is we send disabled combat vets down to Fort Myers, Florida for an all-inclusive 8-day baseball fantasy camp.
I saw the Boston baseball fantasy camp.
That is amazing.
I'm jealous.
Oh, it was a whole week. I went down for the first time 2 years ago.
Where was this, Fort Myers?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I met all kinds of pros. One of the guys was standing over by the fence, and one of the retired pros said, "Hey, I want you to come meet somebody." I said, "Okay." So we walked over toward the fence, and you know, there was one of the famous baseball players, Louis Tiant, and he looked at me, said, "I'm Louis Tiant," and I'm like, "I know exactly who you are." You know, got to shake his hand and talk to him for a while.
So
and,
cool.
You know, get a picture with him, and he's just down to earth guy, and wanted to help out and have some fun, and you know, I got my own uniform, name on the back, Red Sox all over the place. Oh, it was.
Was Shannon able to get that? Was he lucky enough?
He was. He went down that year too, and I look better in mine, I think. But,
yeah. Oh, of course.
But it was a lot of vets went down, and it was a very big challenge just to go.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, to go someplace like that, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Not being in your area of safety.
Comfort.
Right.
Familiarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a lot of vets there, and we kind of all connected. We figured out who we were very, very shortly.
Yes, yes.
And again, that brotherhood of, you know, I was in Iraq, I was in, you know, Korea, I was in Afghanistan and Kuwait and places in Africa and just all over the place, And it was amazing. I played crappy, but I'm fine with that. And, I really enjoyed that. And Warrior Soar covered that for the first year.
Wow.
Which is, a chance of a lifetime for somebody who just can't take a week off and,
Sure.
$4,500.
Yeah, right.
And, but we do a lot of other things too. A lot of golfing and.
Yeah, I see the list here. If I can just run this down, I mean, this is startling to me. Kayaking, snowshoeing, fishing, ice fishing, golf, indoor golf, yoga, sailing, concerts, sporting events, meet and greets, the Boston Baseball Fantasy Camp we just talked about, University of Vermont men's hockey games, Military Family Day, Vermont Warrior Soar Annual Golf Classic, the Georgia Warriors Soar Annual Golf Classic, the Florida Warriors Soar Annual Golf Classic, special projects, VA assistance, mentorship. This is unbelievable.
We're going national.
And I just came back from our inaugural Texas Golf Classic that we just had in San Antonio, and we're planning on adding Ohio and an event in Cape Cod next year as well. And the premises of the golf events is to bring the organization, the information, the mission to that area, and part of the proceeds from that event go to a local veteran charity in that state as well. And we send at least one disabled veteran to the fantasy camp from those events. And now we teamed up with the wounded veterans that are umpires now have a chance to go and work at the fantasy camp.
So amazing.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just beyond awesome. Your mission here, and I don't know if you have this memorized, but can I read it?
Absolutely.
Assist in the healing and reintegration of our wounded heroes through SOAR, which stands for, it's an acronym for Support, Outreach, Assistance, and Recovery. And the objective, provide our wounded heroes with established programs and services that unite, support, and assist their unique mental and physical challenges. You guys are a nonprofit out of where now? Here in Vermont?
Out of Vermont.
Where?
Shelburne.
Shelburne, which you drove up from today to be on the
Right.
podcast.
The world headquarters is right there in Shelburne, Vermont.
That's amazing.
Yep.
In my house.
So awesome. It's just I'm guessing this is a full-time endeavor. This is a
Full-time volunteers.
Yep. Yep. We're all volunteers. None of us draw a salary.
How many members?
Oh, whew.
Well, several hundred.
When did this all start?
2017.
Which, frankly, was yesterday.
Right.
I mean, that's just a couple of years. Wow. And your brochure, I don't know how, but it landed on my desk and got shuffled around in my papers well over a year ago. And I may have reached. Did I reach out?
Yeah, we did. We did
Did we
communicate.
chat?
We did communicate a few times.
Yeah.
I think it was a phone tag type of thing, trying to figure it out. And our friends, Chad Hollister, I think is our connection there.
That was it.
Yep. Chad's voice does the voiceover for one of our videos.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Chad that told me.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, when I saw the name Shannon, I was expecting, obviously, Brian, this beautiful woman. And then I see what we're seeing now, and I'm like, where's...
That's
okay. That was... Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm sure that part will be cut out, right?
warriorssoar.org is your website. You guys are on social media. And donations. How can people watching, listening right now, how can they get involved with you? First of all, if you're a veteran, please, by God, reach out to these folks and contact them and get involved with them. Let's start there.
Right. Go to our website,
Yeah.
warriorssoar.org, check us out. Sign up.
Yeah.
There's a short little questions, name and address and that kind of thing. Where you're served, what your interests are,
Yeah.
and get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Let us know. We do this for you guys. You know, the money that we need to do these programs is very important, but the purpose is to get with those veterans.
Number one,
Right, right,
above everything else.
right. In order to do that, unfortunately, it takes money to do that.
Yeah.
We've got some great volunteers. You know, they really are dedicated to our mission and the things that need to get done.
Can you throw some love at them right now?
Oh, they're the reason this organization exists and that we do so well. You know, their hard work and their dedication to the reasons we do this. You know, one of the major ones is the 22 suicides of veterans every day, which is totally unacceptable.
Totally.
And most all of them have been affected by this, so they know how important that is. And what they do for Warrior SOAR is outstanding. You know, they get up in the morning and it takes a lot of hours and a lot of understanding and a lot of work in the background to make all these things happen.
Yeah.
And they're the lifeblood of us.
Yeah, can't give them enough praise and appreciation for helping us out. And we will be at at Lowell's Home Improvement again this Saturday from 10 to 3. We set up with Big D's hot dog cart. He's also a veteran.
Yeah.
Grumpy's Hot Dogs. And we're going to be at the VFW in Burlington December 18th. We're going to be doing a pajamagram holiday fundraiser. Vermont Teddy Bear donated several pallets of pajamagrams, and that we're now
That's so incredible.
we'll be donating to veterans and their family.
We're very kind of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And-
gonna. Keep going.
Yeah, we're actually picking up some more on Friday, and so we're looking for we need volunteers because one day you can help out and another day you can't. So we're trying to build a pool of volunteers to help out in different activities, and we'll also be at the Champlain Valley Fair on December 4th for a holiday craft fair.
Okay.
Volunteerism is an important, and I think that's when you're talking about veterans and veteran organizations. I think that the country, you can't rely on the government. We got to pull together and do it
Organically
at ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So and then we'll be heading off to fantasy camp. We'll have probably 20 veterans that'll be going down this in January, and also about 10 disabled umpires that'll be coming in, and all our fundraising is public. We have not received any grants, if you will, or any federal income, and so I wanted to give a reach out to Lane Perrins and his wife Mary and his whole team down in Alpharetta, Georgia, for all the hard work that they put in on their annual tournament, they just had their third, and then Brent Fountain and his entire staff down in San Antonio, Texas, for all the hard work and efforts they put into the tournament we just had.
Sure.
And then, our Vermont team, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, coordination, just to put this on. But in the end of the day, if we save a veteran's life, then it's all worth it.
Yeah.
But that's the most important thing is for disabled vets, veterans dealing with multiple challenges. just reach out. Just reach out. We're here. Just say hi. Just come on over, talk. We'll come to you if we can, and participate in some of the programs, because the programs are really a way to get out, and then all the work happens when you get there, right?
Yeah.
Find out new ways, new tricks, and put in your backpack and carry along through the day, because sometimes it's, you get through the day, that's a good day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right. Any businesses? You mentioned Vermont Teddy Bear. Are there any other businesses here in Vermont who have really supported you financially or otherwise?
There's a lot of businesses.
They can be very generous. It's hard the last couple of years with COVID because their businesses are down, and yet they're still there. They have a lot of employees that are vets. Some of them are veterans themselves, and they understand how important this is. And the list is long, and we appreciate all of them. And we would not be able to do the things we can for vets without their help. And I hate talking about the money part of it, but it's critical to the things we get to do for them.
Absolutely.
And Shannon's better with the money part of it, because I don't like that. But it's just part of it. It's just part of what we have to do, and the donations, even the small ones. Somebody last week at Lowe's just gave $2, and she said, "I'm sorry, that's all I have," and I thanked her because that's $2 we didn't have before, and so they're all important. Yeah. And
there's a lot of power in numbers.
There is. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we have a lot of generous donors that support in bringing rookies, we call them, the first-year attendees to the fantasy camp, and some corporation and others bring back the same veteran and their spouse each year because they know how important it is. It's kind of like it just fills up the battery again for another year, I guess.
Sure.
Get you through the hump and some of the bad days, especially the winters.
That's right.
But we're veterans and significant others. Families are very important. I don't think the wives and the get enough credit. I don't think the significant others get enough credit, and we want to be able to provide opportunities for them as well. They can come and hang out.
Definitely.
They can fish, they can golf, they can go sailing, they can do a lot of these activities, for their healing too.
Yeah. And while it's very difficult for the vet, it's also very difficult for the spouse because they watch and they're trying to help.
They live with this.
Right. Yeah, every day. And, some of the bad days, it's not good. And so it's very difficult for them as well. Yeah. And we like to get them together.
Yeah.
And
male, female, husband, wife.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's men and women who have served all over the world.
Sure.
And, especially on Veterans Day, it's just amazing to find out how many really good people there are out there.
Sure.
Veterans have served with honor for years and will go on serving. And like the gentlemen who were here earlier today, their stories are so impactful about what they've gone through and made it.
Impact on all ears, no matter where those ears land politically.
The
Right.
pride, the history. We need to hear that,
Of course we do.
and we need these younger generations to hear that. They're never going to understand unless they go through something similar. but they need to understand that, hey, this guy was a BA when he was your age, and you have no idea, you know.
No idea.
Yeah. I mean,
That's it.
you know, just to hear some of the stories of the gentleman here and some of the guys that I served with, you know, who are really heroes to me, you know, and I understand it. You know, I watch what they do, you know, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And these veterans don't get thanked enough,
Yeah.
you know, for the service to this beautiful country.
Yeah.
And it's not about politics, you know, it's about America and keeping us safe and sacrificing, you know, sometimes their life. And I have a friend of mine who lost both his legs as a medic, and it was very difficult when he was evac'd. His wife was a medic at the aid station there, and you know what they've been through, you know, and he's doing quite well, and they're down in Texas, and amazing pair, you know, both veterans, and the stories of these veterans, their hero, and they just walk around like they're everyday people, and they feel that way. Yeah. But those of us that know what they've gone through, we know how special and how amazing these veterans are.
And let's also say that, you know, a lot of these veterans, if not all of them, they're in the war, they come home, and frankly, it's a whole nother war back here. I mean, look at Wes Black. I mean, so much chatter about Wes Black, who dealing with the aftermath of physical ailments from these burn pits.
Right.
My
gosh. It's a difficult transition, and almost a daily. You know, you never know when it's going to hit you. You just try to avoid things that will set you off.
Yeah.
You just avoid it.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan,
I haven't watched the news in 15 years. I just
not
try
missing
not
much.
to. It's like, you know, if they want me, call me. I'll be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, fire up the chopper. I got a buddy down in Florida. He's always calling me up different times of the day. And is the chopper ready?
Yeah.
You know, let's go.
Wow.
But we have sent a local disabled veteran from the Barre area, Carol Macy. We sent him. He's been to the baseball fantasy camp a couple times.
Wow.
So we try to set at least a couple from Vermont a year, from the fundraising, from our golf tournaments and
Incredible.
things like that. But as you were saying, if you can go to Warriors Soar, there's 2 S's in there, warriorsoar.org, and there's a donate button on that homepage, and then also on the top there's a place where for veterans, and then they click down and it says membership.
Yeah.
And membership is free. You're a disabled veteran, and it doesn't matter what rating you are. If you're in the VA system,
Wow. You signed on the line.
You signed on a line. You raised your right hand, and you.
The potential of putting your life on the line.
Yeah,
Sure.
Whether you
the check said,
yeah,
even including
blank check.
life,
right,
yeah.
even whether you're on a keyboard or you're a mechanic or a fueler, or you were mountain infantry.
Yeah.
All of these jobs, MOSs, regardless of Army or Navy or all the services, you signed on that line. That means
That's it.
And it's all
you're
era.
at risk.
All era. Our oldest
Yeah.
is a World War II vet, and member that's actually been able to sign up all the way
Wow.
to current day disabled veterans.
Incredible.
Something we haven't mentioned yet is all of our programs are free to the vets.
Yeah.
So the sailing, the golfing, the sometimes
Concerts.
yeah, yeah. The first time you go to Red Sox baseball fantasy camp, go Sox.
Yeah.
It's the
Is-
Boston Baseball Fantasy Camp.
Right. Yeah, Red Sox. Right.
Yeah.
It
Boston.
says that on the shirt, but it's
Yeah.
the Boston Baseball.
Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're the Red Sox from Boston.
Yes.
Right.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, right.
He's
So-
not like a Yankees fan or anything.
No, no.
is he?
No,
Of
no,
course
no. They're
Just
no.
making
I
sure.
mean,
Go Bruins.
I won't have to throw him out of here.
I mean, we accept them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Of
all in
course you will.
fun.
Yes.
We
Yes.
I make fun of the other services because I can,
Yeah.
and but I mess with them,
Yeah.
and they mess with us until someone else messes with one of us.
Yeah. Right.
And then
Stops
they've got
there.
a big problem.
That's right.
I think that could be a country song.
So
Fire up the cup.
yeah. We
I'll have to get
That is there's a couple of country songs there.
our military has a skill set that most people have no idea
Are
about.
not aware of,
So
yes.
yeah.
Man, we love you guys. We hope that you're going to come back here soon. We said to Mo just a little while ago, said the same thing to you. We're right here. This is our studios right here on North Main Street in Barre. You know where we are. You're welcome to come back in here anytime. You do not need an invitation. Anything you want to promote, anything you want to talk about, and if you can't get here, we'll zoom in with you. We'll get you on the show live by Zoom, by phone, whatever you have happening. And I know the parade's going to be starting here any minute in downtown Barre. We're going to try to take you there with a live camera. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for all you do every single day. We can't thank,
Thank you.
enough.
Yeah, I want to give a
appreciate
shout
it
out
very much.
to all the support that we've received over the last 4 years, and I look forward to working with our future members and our current members and our board of directors and our committees and our affiliates and our team members in Florida and Texas and the state of Georgia. I can't thank them enough for all their hard work and time. It's amazing. And Jay Harris, who runs the baseball fantasy camp, I thank him. He comps a lot to bring veterans to for this experience, and so it's not just us. There's a lot of people out there to thank that have our back, and our treasurer, and our board is made up of mostly veterans, combat veterans. Our treasurer, Tammy, is doing a phenomenal job, and I can't thank her for her enough for all her work. And Joe Gilman on the board of directors is doing outreach, and Brian dealing with the fishing and sailing program, and John Kipp, Purple Heart recipient, Iraq, as our secretary, and
Wow.
and I mentioned Steve earlier. It's on our board, our PR manager, and a lot of and there's so many people out there to thank that have stepped up and helped out, and it helps everyone a little bit somewhere dealing with their own challenges from their experiences in the military or being a spouse or a widow.
Sure.
Their help is meaningful. It matters, and it makes a difference. And that is pretty amazing. I would like, a shameless plug, to thank my wife for her very generous patience for what I've been through and what we've been through. And, sometimes the ones who stay at home and the families, what they go through can be very difficult to watch the news and wonder if their loved one is okay, and is that my person? Is that my wife? Is that my husband? So it can be hard on them, and they are pretty amazing. So
Yeah. Aren't they?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out too to a couple others. Terry Williams, also on the board. I served with him in Afghanistan in 2003, and Ken Tisdale. He's down in the Houston area, Houston, Texas, also Air Force veteran. But I just wanted to mention them, and Naomi.
yeah, Naomi's
Naomi
awesome.
for being there through her challenges and supporting us through ours. So
There's so many names
Sure.
that I want to. We just don't have time.
but a lot of the companies
know.
are on the website. We at least try to get them, some FaceTime,
Sure.
if you will. So you'll see a lot of the companies on our webpage, and please go out and support them because they're supporting a very important cause here in the prevention of veteran suicide. That support them
And mental health.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
support these companies that are supporting our mission.
Brian, how do we pronounce your last name?
Decatur.
Brian Decatur.
It's like Decatur, Georgia.
All right.
Very famous Commodore Stephen Decatur, who was a Navy man.
Yeah.
Way back, War of 1812. Did some pretty amazing things, and no relation to me.
I also like to thank my my buddy here, Freedom.
Yes.
Who's been very good.
Very patient.
Service dog from Vermont Paws and Boots.
Yes.
Which is out of Bennington now.
Oh, good group.
Freedom is a rescue from Mississippi. Was brought up.
Is the paw okay?
Yeah,
Right.
he's okay.
He already chewed it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's got three
Michelle's
others.
Great. Vermont Paws and Boots. Freedom went through that program and does his annual certifications, and
Wow.
he's
Lifesaver.
amazing. He gets it.
Yeah.
And he's always there, and he's a good boy.
Brian Decatur and Army Major Shannon Blake from SOAR. Support, Outreach, Assistance, Recovery, based right here in Shelburne, Vermont. We're going to post up the address, the email, the phone number, the Facebook links. We'll get it all on there. Thank you so much for coming in here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Yeah.
We're going to try to bring our cameras to the parade here in just a moment. So stand by on that. But don't forget, donations to SOAR are tax deductible. There's online donations, stock donations, mail-in donations, in-kind donations. Just reach out to them as they continue their mission to reach out to veterans everywhere. Thank you both again so much for coming in today. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you both for your service and what you continue to do to serve so many veterans. So we're going to switch our cameras over here and show you the parade in just a little bit. God bless. Thank you for catching the podcast today. We appreciate your eyes and your ears. Happy Veterans Day to any and all veterans who are watching, listening today, and their families as well. And to our sponsors, Green Mountain Mulch, Fecto Homes, Salvador and Babbitt, Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, Barre Area Development, FGB Theaters, Gustos, Vermont Custom Woodworking, ASB Financial, the Barre Montpelier Times-Argus, Donnybrook Fight Promotion, Wright Electric, Wood Doodles, Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance, Preston's Kia, Granite City MMA, and Barslow Construction. Thanks, everybody. We hope that you'll be able to catch the parade in just a little bit. Remember to remove your cap and salute the flag. We'll see you in a little bit.